Continue to get reaction as we welcome in the leader of the Saskatchewan NDP, Carla Beck, this morning. Carla, you saw the piece. I saw you nod your head a couple of times at a certain point in time. So what is your initial reaction now that you've had some time to digest it?
Yeah. You know, this budget is not a budget that's focused on the future of this province. It's a budget that, frankly, ignores the reality. We see a budget with no contingency based or built into it at a time when you know, we're facing so much with the threat of tariffs, with Chinese tariffs coming on to
When you say
canola
contingency,
today.
what do you mean? How much money should be set aside for that?
Some money built in to show that there will be supports should the worst happen and we see industry impacted. We're already seeing industries in this province, producers impacted by a decline in prices and certainly uncertainty as we go into seeding. What we've seen other provinces do is build in to their budgets, whether that's in Alberta or British Columbia or New Brunswick, is to build in a contingency to show that they have the money at the ready to support those industries that might be impacted. And that's what we would expect.
Finance Minister was on set this morning. He said, how do you do that when it changes day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour?
Well, maybe he could pick up the phone and talk to one of those other premiers, one of those other finance ministers, because it's something that other provinces have seen their governments provide. I think it was a mistake, and I think it was conspicuous that our government was not able to do that. Not only that, in this budget, we see cuts when it comes to education and healthcare funding at a time when we know that we need to be investing to ensure that people have the services that they need when and where they need it. Unfortunately, we see a government that tabled a budget yesterday that is going to see cuts in both of those areas, planning to spend less than they did this year.
I'm going to challenge you to find something positive to say about this budget. What did you like about it?
Well, one of the announcements recently that we saw was the government taking up the steelworkers call here in Regina. A call that we've been making for a number of years is to use our public infrastructure spending to procure local steel. I think that's something that is positive, something that we should have seen a long time ago. There are other contracts that we should be looking at in this province to source as much as we can here in this province to ensure that we're supporting those local businesses, those local jobs, and you know, that we've got a plan to fight back against the impact of the tariffs that we've seen put in. Healthcare
saw the most money, which is not surprising. How would you have approached the healthcare question? You've called it a systemic problem.
It is a systemic problem. I mean, we saw last week here in Regina, the hospital at Regina General Hospital, operating as if they were in a mass casualty event. This was on a regular Wednesday. We have seen year over year Saskatchewan lose more healthcare workers than any other province. This has to start with listening to those local voices, whether that's local communities or those frontline workers. Evidence would say otherwise. Those frontline workers would say otherwise. They have not only a good handle on what the problems are in our healthcare system, they are desperate to be at that table to be providing their solutions. The government suggested in the last election that they would build a health roundtable. We found out yesterday that they just have sent out the emails. This has to be top priority. We have to retain those healthcare workers. We have to build a plan to increase the number of healthcare workers. And most of all, we have to ensure that Saskatchewan people can get the care that they need, that women don't have to fly to Calgary if they can afford it to get basic mammogram care.
You head into work at 10 a.m. What's your first order of business?
Today, we signaled this earlier. We're going to be calling on the Premier to do something he couldn't find his feet to do yesterday, denouncing the threats, the comments by President Trump that Canada should be the 51st state. That's not on for us. That's not on for the people of this province, and they want to hear from their leaders that they are focused on the threats that are in front of us, that they want to hear that we will never be the 51st state, and we will get our elbows up and fight like heck to ensure that that doesn't happen.
All right, good luck. Get back to work. See you next time.
Thanks, Daryl.